Hello guys, it's FlightMat here, welcome to my channel, and today we are going to practice the VOR approach in Warsaw for runway 33. Shortly we're gonna jump into the flight deck, you will see the chart, so we're gonna study the chart, and later on we'll prepare the plane for landing, approach with stopping, and I will explain some stuff, and later on we'll do normal approach without pausing the sim. So now I think it's time to go to the cockpit. Enjoy guys! Okay guys, so right now we are in the flight deck. So let's have a look firstly on the chart. On the chart you can see here, it's chart 13.4 effective 13 June, VOR runway 33. So let's read the chart and prepare the plane at the same time, so we're gonna save the time. So it's gonna be our like preparation and briefing at the same time. So we can read from the left. It's Oscar Kilo Charlie VOR. It's 113.45, which is set on active, both sides. Okay, cool. Then we have final approach courses 323, and we're gonna set it up on both sides as well. Then airport elevation is 355. It's checked. It's over there. Cool. And then minimums, we have 760, but we make a VOR approach which is non-precision, and most of the airlines they add extra 50 feet. So let's put 760 plus 50, 810 for our minimums. It's gonna take a second here. And almost there. 810. So the minimums are set. I'm pilot flying. The captain is going to be pilot monitoring. And over here, the captain's gonna read me the DME distance from Oscar Kilo Charlie. So he can set up the VOR on both sides over here. This one. And he's gonna read me this distance here. So we have 9 miles, 7 miles, 5 and 3, and underneath you can see the altitude that we're supposed to be here. So in normal life, what we do, if we have any VOR approach, we use LNAV VNAV to make it easier, so we don't have to play with the vertical speed. But today's version is the hardest one. I mean, a little bit harder, but we don't use it as much because we don't want to complicate our stuff. So the next step is going to be setting up our FMC for arrival. So as far right now we are on heading select and the altitude 4,000 feet. So let's put the VDM runway 33, and we can use the 14 miles 0.3, as a transition route, activate, and later on we're going to put it on the top. Auto brakes 3 and flaps 30 for landing, wind correction +5. Auto brake 3. Let's unpause the game. Okay, it's all set, good. Descent checklist was done, approach checklist was done, landing checklist will be done. And okay, so think we need to change our heading to be more parallel to this point here. That's our center of the runway here, actually here. And that's is going to be our course. Okay, so let's continue turning here, and I will skip when we'll be on final. So I forgot to mention actually, we're supposed to do VDP point, which is a visual descent point. At this point from the runway threshold, we supposed to see the runway and continue visually. So I will be making something like flying and pausing the game to explain you some stuff. So let's calculate this VDP. Let's check our minimums is 760, and divided by 320, it's 2.4. So let's put it in the fixed page. I'm not sure if we're gonna see it here. Probably you will see the circle here. So let's put it again, runways 33. And distance, we want to have 2.4. It's actually a little bit less, but I put it a little bit higher here. And we got the circle here. So with our vertical speed, as we set the minimum altitude, we're supposed to touch or be a little bit before, because as we said, we added already 50 feet, but on our MCP, we're going to set minimum of 900 feet to make it higher, because you are not able to set 810, and if you set 800, you are below. So we're going to put 900. So you need to take it under consideration what's the altitude and where it's supposed to be, you know, this vertical speed. Okay, so let's keep 4,000 here and let's continue. Okay, so at 14.3 nautical miles, we can start our descent to 3,000 feet. So let's set it up again. Here we go, 3,000 feet. And the vertical speed is armed, so we just have to scroll the wheel. We don't have to engage the vertical speed through this button. And before final approach fix, we're supposed to have at least flaps 5. So let's start reducing, and vertical speed, let's say 1000, flaps 1, speed, let's say to 195, 1000 feet to level off, and the green arc shows us that we're going to have it just before the final approach fix. So let's put flaps 5 and VOR armed. So when the plane captures the final course, we are going to have this VOR armed on the green. So we're gonna see it in a second. Let's put speed to speed 5 to slow down a little bit. As you see, VOR arm, altitude acquired. Heading on course 323, sorry. And now we have like 1.3 miles. The captain before that, let's say around 2 miles before, he's going to say approaching final approach fix. I'll say check. It's set up, and I will reduce at the same time as well our altitude to minimums, which is 900. As I mentioned before, we cannot set up 800 because it's going to be below, and it's not possible to put it 810, so we keep 900. Vertical speed armed, and we continue. We see the airport already here. 1 mile to go. Let's get ready with this button here. Okay. Let's put at the beginning slightly higher, 1300. Pause, and the captain is gonna tell me 9 miles, 2930. So it's still okay. And let's prepare for the next one. It's going to be 7 miles, 2290. Basically, we can say 2300. That's 7 miles. I'm gonna pause again. You can see the arc. We're gonna reach 900 feet just before this arc, which is good. If it's gonna be somewhere here, we know that we're not gonna meet our visual descent point. If it's gonna be here, we know that we are too low. So more or less we are on path. Or a little bit too high. Let's see. Let's wait for 7 miles. We have 1 mile more to go. Just to let you know, for those that don't know, you engage it here on this button here to see the distance. 7.4, and VOR2 is my side and VOR1 is captain's side. Today we have both sides the same, which is Oscar Kilo Charlie, so I could even switch it off as I don't need it. 7 miles is now, we have, let's say 2,200, we are 100 feet below. So at this time I'm going to reduce it to, let's say 900, and let's wait for the next call. Six miles as well, we can do gear down, flaps 15. Speed 15. Okay, so in this case the captain is going to arm the switches to continuous, and I will do the speed brakes. Do we fly on the speed brakes? Okay, let me just fix that. There were that's the parking brake, that's arm position. Let's wait for 5 miles. Let's reduce it to 800, and we can set flaps 30. Here more or less I will just disengage the autopilot, but I will just continue in autopilot for now. Flaps 30. And we have 4.9er, and we're supposed to be at 5 miles, 1,650. So we are too low. But in real life, you also can check the puppy lights. They are really visible from the very far distance. So we are on the glide path, yeah. So the next call out will be 3 miles, but we're gonna fly it actually visually already. Let's do the landing checklist in the meantime. So landing checklist, captain is gonna read it, and it's gonna be read from here. Engine start switches, continuous, speed brake, armed, we confirm it here, landing gear down, flaps 30, green light, landing checklist completed. Okay, thank you. It looks like our plane is actually pitching up here. Let's see. Doesn't want to descend. "300 feet above our minimums, we're going to set up our missed approach altitude, which is 3,000 feet. So basically at 1,200 feet, I will put 3,000. Okay, normally in live you just do it in 1 second. That's why I'm flying in autopilot and I'm making pose. And the VREF should be +5 as well here. 3 miles, we're supposed to be at 1,010 feet. And on Puppy, we have 3 whites, 1 red. Just because the plane just lowered the descent for a second as you saw it. Okay, so let's continue now in manually.
Approaching minimums.
Check. Now I'm too low. And the vertical speed should not be more than 1,000.
Minimums.
Landing.
400.
And here the captain, I will ask reset flight directors. He's going to click it. Let me just see, where is this click spot? Okay. And again, he's going to arm it. It's on pause, so you didn't see it. It was off, off, on, and on. So pilot flying side should be on first. So minimum's landing.
300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Speed brake up. Reverse is normal. Manual braking, auto brake disarmed. 60 knots. And we are on the ground. Okay guys, so now we're going to make a normal approach without any explanation. Let's see how it goes, all the flow. So just before we start, I just need to make a small clarification here, as the VDP, it's minimum descent height, not the altitude, as I mentioned on the previous approach. So it's going to be a 405 our minimum descent height, divided by 320, it's going to give us 1.26, so I put 1.3. Let's see how it's gonna work like with this number here now. So let's continue. And we can engage the Warlock as well. So Warlock armed. Warlock captured. Heading on course 323. 323. And 14.3 miles we can start descending to 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet set, checked. So approaching 14.3, we have vertical speed armed, so we don't have to press that button. Let's put 700. Let's see where our arc is going to be. It should be touching or slightly before our final approach fix, which is correct. It's vertical speed. It's okay. 700, 800. Let's put 800 as it's reducing to 650. Now we see it's all correct. Approaching final approach fix. Okay, so flaps 5. Speed 5. Speed 5 set. And flaps 5. Altitude acquired. And altitude hold in a second. Or maybe never. Altitude hold. Let's put 900 and we can start our final descent. Let's keep it for now 1,200, and at 7 miles, let's say 2,300. 2,300. We can check the arc. Now it's showing us before. I'll reduce 900. Okay, a little bit too low. So let's put 800. 7 miles, 2,000, 120, 100 feet. Okay, gear down, flaps 15. Speed 15. Gear down, flaps 15 set. And flaps 30. 5 miles, 1,650. And speed VRF plus 5. 1,650. So we're almost there. Yeah, on the path. Landing checklist, engines and switches. Continuous speed brake arm. Landing gear down. Flaps 30. Green light. Landing checklist completed. We see our arc is just before the visual descent point. Just to keep the continuous descent final approach. And we can disconnect autopilot, auto throttle. 1000 stabilized. Let's correct for the center line. Do not exceed the vertical speed. Slightly to the right now. On Puppy. We got recently some showers. Quite heavy. I will attach the video from the car. Okay, I'm flying without flight directors anyway. And 3,000 means approach altitude.
500. Minimums.
Landing, reset flight directors. Let's say they were resetted, okay. Okay, a little bit too much, because I don't see the vertical speed here.
200. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Speed brake up. Reverse is normal. Manual braking, auto brake disarmed. It's hard braking because I don't have pedals here. So I just need to brake on my joystick and we can vacate the runway. So guys, safely landed using the VOR approach and vertical speed. The next approach is going to be Lavina VOR. So thank you guys for watching, and now you should know how to calculate properly VDP. It's minimum descent height, not altitude. Sorry for my mistake. And next one is when to reset the miss approach altitude is 300 feet above our minimums. And the last was the flight directors that I think now I forgot to switch it on. I'm not sure now. I'll need to check it in the replay. So you just need to click it to off, then on, continue visually, and if the captain side is engaged as well, let me just show it now. You're supposed to switch off this one, or actually it doesn't matter which one you switch off first, but first you need to switch on the pilot flying, as I'm on the master. If you will do like this, then the master is captain side. Here we go. So guys, thank you one more time and see you on the next tutorial.